At that time, my cousin and I began a long journey to restore my forgotten grandmother's house. Together with my cousin, we embarked on a mission to revive the grandmother's house that was almost lost, swallowed by time. Every inch of this land holds a story. The laughter of my childhood, the warm meals of my grandmother, and hugs that now exist only as memories. But the struggle to clear this path was only a trailer for the real adventure. The road to the house was finally cleared, albeit through great struggle. However, what we saw was only the beginning of a far greater challenge. As a reminder, and you should know, here we only use manual tools without any machines at all. Not because we didn't want to use machines or thought we were strong, but simply because we do not have any. We only do our best with the tools we have. As I continued the cleanup, I discovered that the ground here was not only overgrown with wild grass, it was full of gravel and remnants of buildings. This land is like a real survival game. Imagine, behind waist-deep grass, thousands of sharp pebbles and fragments of building iron lie hidden, ready to crush your spirit. Every time my blade hit a rock, it felt like fighting an invisible enemy. And it doesn't stop there. Hairy caterpillars attack, making my skin itch and burn, especially when sweat mixes with the tiny piercing thorns. A ninja attack from the hairy caterpillars. Their little thorns pierce my skin mixed with sweat, making me feel surrounded from every side. This is not cleaning. This is war. I then proceeded to gather the piles of grass and move them behind the house. Eventually, all this grass will be burned once it has dried. Many might wonder why it must be burned, causing air pollution. Yes, it's true, but this is common practice in the rural areas where we live. Our neighbors do it all the time, and you should know. The smell of this burning smoke is completely different from urban pollution. The scent has a distinct countryside aroma that makes city folks long for the village if they catch a whiff. This activity may seem easy and relaxed, but in reality, it is not that simple. About 80% of this grass has sharp, spiky bristles that cause my skin to become inflamed and unbearably itchy. Amid all these difficulties, there was suddenly a small miracle. San, a distant relative who always appears unexpectedly. Nature always sends help. San, my distant cousin, deaf and mute since birth, came like a savior god. Without a word, with an old wooden rake that is probably older than me, he helped me conquer the thorny grass. From his actions I learned, care does not need words. Action is enough. Although deaf and mute, he has an incredible spirit. With the simple grass rake he brought, he helped gather the thorny grass that had been bothering me all along. His brief assistance, even though it lasted only 2 hours, made a huge difference. I learned, sometimes a simple tool can be a lifesaver amidst chaos. I then continued to another section. It was around noon, and San had left a few minutes ago. Look at the corner beneath that tree. That itchy grass has already been cleared by San. Thank goodness. At least I didn't have to clean that area with my terribly itchy arms. Before long, the sky grew darker without me noticing. It seemed like it would rain this afternoon. And sure enough, a heavy rain fell, forcing us to take a break and relax while enjoying the rain. Watching the rain while enjoying a hot cup of milk coffee with palm sugar and a cigarette was truly delightful and soothing. All the fatigue and itchiness vanished in an instant. In my heart, I thought, I haven't felt this way in a long time. This activity seems addictive, and I might do something like this again in the future, in a different place. After the rain subsided, I continued cleaning the grass in the area that had been pending earlier. Now, the conditions are wet and cool. It doesn't feel as heavy as it did when the weather was hot and sweaty. But now, it's already quite late in the afternoon and the sky is still overcast. It looks like it might rain again. As dusk began to settle, my body felt exhausted. I sat for a moment reflecting on how precious this place is. In every corner, it holds childhood memories, laughter, and tears. The next day, I began cleaning the front yard on the left side of the house. 10 meters from here, there is an old well whose water needs to be drawn to be clean and fresh again. This is where, in my childhood, my grandmother's kitchen was located. What I remember from this area is that there were once 2 small permanent clay stoves, usually used by my grandmother to boil water and cook large meals. At that time, there were no gas stoves, only an oil stove that my grandmother rarely used. This area was once the corner of the kitchen, with a corridor on the outside leading north toward the well and a bathroom that has since collapsed because the building had grown so dilapidated. If you notice in this area, there appears to be a pile of bricks. These bricks are not remnants from my grandmother's house, but rather leftovers from my uncle's new construction on this property. It seems that the leftover bricks and ruins of my grandmother's house have been used to fill the floor of my uncle's new building on this site. All that remains is the old foundation of my grandmother's house. While cleaning this site, the weather was very clear, with only wisps of thin clouds in the sky. This is good because there is little chance of rain when the weather is this bright. However, the downside of the heat is that the air temperature is high, draining my energy and increasing the itchiness as sweat soaks my already red, irritated arms. Even though I was exhausted, my determination grew stronger. I know that this struggle is a tribute to my family's history. I will keep trying, even if every day feels like a battle. There is one factor that keeps me going even to this very moment. It began with a unique and slightly frightening story that I experienced in my dream last night. In my dream last night, there were no visuals or images at all, only darkness and a clear voice. I heard my grandmother's voice from the past say, "Child, never forget to take care of our home." I woke up suddenly startled, then sat and reflected on what I had done these past 2 days. This is not merely a project, it is a promise to the strong woman who once cradled me on this very porch. Every scratch on my hands is a mark of love for you, Grandma. I vowed it in my heart. Okay, so the story goes, it's time to return to the progress of cleaning this site from the grass and weeds. Before I knew it, I was almost at the well area. In this video, you cannot see it yet because the well is still covered by waist-deep, itchy grass. Now, in this section, I moved the pile of grass that I had set aside earlier because I ran out of time yesterday to pile it at the back. That means I had to work twice in this area. Fortunately, my spirit was very strong, so moving this itchy pile of grass felt almost enjoyable. But the outside world gave me no time. Suddenly, my phone rang. A sudden call from work forced me to leave. I looked at this house one last time with mixed emotions. I wanted to finish cleaning, but I had to go. The footage from this part and what follows are of my final days at this place. I am not giving up. I promise I will return to clean the back of the house and uncover the secrets of the old well that holds so many stories. In front of me stands that ancient well. This is the old well that holds many stories and memories, from beautiful memories to horror tales about a ghostly woman who was said to appear, sitting at the well's edge while playing with her pale feet and combing her dull hair with her long, wrinkled fingers. This is just a story whose truth has not been proven, but it was very famous back in the day. To all of you who have followed me since part 1, I thank you very much. If you are still curious about part 3, please subscribe to this channel for free and stay tuned for horror stories and a bit of my childhood mischief in this place.